This is the Astros 2024 season preview right here on Beyond the Diamond podcast. Brian Lima, Apollo Des, producer Josh here with you. Let's start with the starting rotation of the Astros. All right. Big news. Justin Verlander on the IL to start the season. Shoulder soreness. Expected to be back probably a couple weeks after opening day. Concern levels. Let's start there.
0. I mean, look, we said it.
None?
We said it before.
None.
0.
You don't believe that.
You gotta get geared up a little bit. You got look. Who worries about starts in April? Who worries about starts in April? It's about October. If it was me, come back in May, dude. Come back in May. Come back, relax. Have your legs underneath you. Have your bullets ready to go for the last stretch. Saying that, concern's probably a 10.
You did it again, dude. You did it again. That was good.
No, look, 41 years old. Like, yeah. It is like when you look at your aces starting on the shelf. But look, there's a lot of people starting on the shelf. But you just gotta keep them fresh. Just keep them fresh throughout the season. We're gonna do a 6-man rotation anyways. So,
yeah, I think. That was good, dude. You got my thanks.
I was working on that one.
I look, we've already talked about this in our group text. We've talked about it, everywhere in the city. When you look at the rotation that's going to be, let's take Verlander out of the equation. Okay. Fromber, Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy, Hunter Brown, JP France. JP France also had some shoulder soreness. He just threw live BP today. As we record this on Wednesday, what's the date today? I don't even know the date today. The 6th? March 6th?
6th of March.
First live BP for JP France. He's expected to be in the rotation. Dana Brown said yesterday on the 5th, when the Verlander news came out, that they're not in the market to get a starting pitcher, and they're going to trust the depth of the rotation. And that's going to include possibly Ronel Blanco and Spencer Urquidy. So
that's a friend of the program. Brandon Belak. He can eat some innings.
Oh, yeah, Brandon Belak. Yeah, you need an innings-eating guy for sure. My concerns are obviously with Verlander, the age that he's at, and he talked about not wanting to rush and not meet a deadline on the calendar or so forth and so on. But then you need a bounce-back year from Fromber. You need a bounce-back year from Christian Javier. How is Hunter Brown going to do? Because he threw the most innings he's ever thrown in his life this past season. JP France never threw as many innings as he did. Now he's going to be expected to be in the rotation for the whole season. I mean, I can go on and on. It's a lot of what ifs. But I guess on the bright side, if those dudes all perform like we know that they can, it's going to be a pretty nasty rotation, and then you'll get Justin Verlander back.
Yeah, I think you have a really good point of the concern level of where you're at, and it's valid. Also, when you name out a Framber, a Javier, a Urquidy, a Hunter Brown, and a France, we've had worse rotations in the last 7 years that have made pretty deep runs. So, I'm not concerned, and this offense is going to bang, so they're going to put numbers up. The other side is kind of like the depth behind it, the Aaron Getty, the Blancos, the Belak. You need innings eaters. The Verlander news sucks, but in reality, it's the kind of the Brady rule. Get him sped up and get him protected and make it count for down the stretch.
Yeah.
But you have two arms looming, and I know it's a beaten horse. I know people get upset when you mention these names, Lance McCullers and Luis Garcia. But those are your acquisitions at the trade deadline that you're getting internally. And hey, by the way, Dana Brown and Jimmy Crane, they will go get an arm if need be at a deadline. They understand the stakes of what this year is and who's potentially walking and the roster makeup of one now. They will go get an arm. Obviously, right now there's a Snell, there's a Montgomery sitting on the shelf. Boris is just the first time fumbling over himself, and it's almost a pattern of Correa last year and the Judge debacle now kind of being expanded with the Bellinger, Chapman, now Snell and Monty. There's arms there. Do you make you throw a 1-year deal? Hey, you want another ring? 1 year here? Like, do you offer that? I don't know. I mean, Dana Brown has pretty much told Chandler no, and you have to take Dana Brown's word for what it is because he has his poker face is just straight up. So I have a take. And I know. Well, let's get producer Josh just in here on this one right here. I have a take. I want the whole crew in here.
Okay.
Christian Javier not only gets Cy Young votes, but finishes top 5. I am so bullish on Christian Javier, almost emerging to be your ace. I know it's Framber.
Wow.
It's a take. It's a take. It's a take. But he's got his body right. He's got the money already. He's got the monies, honeys. I think we have it all figured out. And also the Astros lab figured out what he was doing as well. If he has that spin back, a top 5 finisher, Cy Young.
I
will say real quick, because I'm not going to talk a whole lot on this, but I will say he's going to benefit the most from having an actual time off season. And
he looks in great shape.
A little bit.
He looks in great shape.
I was very, very bullish on, to use your word, Des, I was very bullish on Christian Javier last year.
I was too.
And he could barely get out of 4 innings. And we said it multiple times last year when we were trying to figure out what's wrong with Christian Javier. I said he looked thick, fat, and out of shape. And he comes into camp, losing 15 pounds?
Best shape of his life.
So if there's any guy that's going to try to right his wrong from last season, that's probably not even the correct choice of words, but if he's going to redeem himself, there you go, redeem himself, it's got to be Christian Javier. Dude, he's going to be a big X factor in this rotation. Obviously, Framber as well. Framber's got tons to prove because he was so inconsistent, and it's all here. We know he's got the stuff. Are you okay? This is going to bring up another topic.
I don't want him doing it.
Calling his own pitches?
I already know where you're going. I don't want him to do it.
So
it's like giving it.
Let me preface the question real quick, okay? Because then we can get into it. He had his first outing a couple of days ago, and it didn't go well. It's spring training, okay, fine. 100%. However, he's calling his own pitches. You have a young catcher behind the plate that really hasn't worked with these guys a lot, like Martín Maldonado did. Martín Maldonado, veteran, knew the pitching staff like the back of his hand. Yanier just doesn't have that yet. Now you have a pitcher in Framber that we have seen when things get tough, he crumbles. We see the emotions on the mound. We see the theatrics. We see the frustration, right? And you're gonna call your own pitches. Can he figure that out? Maybe it'll work in the opposite way. Maybe he'll be so focused on calling his own pitches, he won't worry about when things go to shit for him. If they go to shit. Me personally, I think pitchers should have a big say in what pitch to call, but also you still have to catch the guy behind the plate, or you have to trust the guy behind the plate because
he's the one making the game.
You may not see. So I'm not a big fan of it. I'm going to trust it until we don't trust it. It's just a lot going on.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think the big thing is you're almost giving him the opportunity to be the ace you want him to be. And not he is an ace. He has ace stuff and he is an ace. What I'm saying is the future ace and the extension he wants in Houston and the question marks that are coming. Now, you're kind of betting on yourself when you kind of take on that. When you're and maybe that's the competitor in him, and maybe it dials him in, maybe it does. What we've seen track record wise, it seems like you're gonna give your little cousin a paintball gun and he shoots up a car.
Yeah.
Is it your cousin's fault or is it you who gave, you know what I mean? Like, so there's that balance too. And don't get like, this guy's a competitor. He's going to pitch his ass off. We've seen him when he's the best. He should have been World Series MVP. When Framber Valdez is the best, he legitimately should have been the World Series MVP. So I'm just like, start by start, I'm very, very,
and
we'll see.
And you know what? Like, we shouldn't have to feel that way when we see Framber what he did last year and we want him to redeem himself this year. Now you're going to throw in the calling of the pitches. And now we're talking about taking it game by game with how he calls his own pitches. Like, that just adds in another element.
Oh, I mean, what if he comes out and play devil's advocate on this side? Like, if he comes out and is balling out, like, the whole Maldi thing kind of goes up in flames. like that conversation.
Yeah,
Like if he gets in the and look, baseball players are creatures of habit and the whole pitch comp thing is a new thing. But if he feels comfortable with it, I mean, maybe it's just trying out in spring training. If it doesn't work out, then so be it. You know, it'll be Janier's job. But um, I'm not upset that they're trying it in spring training. I'd rather it happen now. Like I like them turning over every single rock and seeing what's underneath. But I I'm very 50-50.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm right there as well. All right, so we've talked Verlander, we've talked Fromber, we talked Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy, Hunter Brown, and JP France. Jose Urquidy, we know the stuff that he has. We know he's pitched in big games in the playoffs. Last year missed 60, I think 60 something games. Came back, contributed what he could in the second half. He's another guy that's going to have to redeem himself. And with all that being said, and it's just popping into my mind, this is I think I said it on one of our last episodes of Beyond the Diamond, is this is a team coming in that's not the defending champs. They have a new manager who they love, right? So I think you'll have a more consistent lineup. And then you also have pitchers that have chips on their shoulders because they didn't perform well. And I think Jose Urquidy is one of those guys, along with Fromber, along with Christian Javier, right? So I think Jose Urquidy is set for a pretty good year.
No, and the things coming out of camp, I mean, he talked about he had a something in his mechanics that ailed his shoulder, right? So
Yep.
they found that trigger. And then 2, he was tipping pitches too. And look, Jose Urquidy's not gonna blow heaters by you. He's gonna be at the corner. He's gonna be crafty. But he's gonna throw a lot of strikes.
Yeah.
And with a young team, in the sense of a young catcher, Hunter Brown behind you, a JP France in front of you, and if he's that guy sandwiched in between, he's gonna have to step up because those young guys are gonna have a 2 or 3 inning outing. It just happens in baseball. And they're also going to have the 6 or 7 inning. But if you have a guy sandwiched between them that can give you a constant 5, that saves the bullpen in those stretches when they get kind of paired up in a series. So with Jose Urquidy, it's going to be a lot of strikes. We know what he does, and like you said, he's been a big game pitcher. Like when the lights are the brightest, he does step up. I'm hoping that another guy, World Baseball Classic guy, injury. I know we talked about it last year. I don't think we gave it enough gravity of playing in November and turn around and being at spring training in January. Like that's a month off.
Yeah.
After 175 games, and then you tack on extra practices and games for the WBC. And I love the WBC. We were at the WBC. I love it. I just don't think we calculated what that does to the body. Like it's just these guys just ran into a buzzsaw and of just their bodies kind of wearing down a bit, their arms wearing down, their legs wearing down. I mean, we'll get to the outfield and we could talk about Tuck for another program. His legs it felt like they were in jello out there. And that's just so many innings they tack on. So I think all these guys coming in rejuiced with a chip on their shoulder and not being defending champs, like you said, is huge.
Rejuiced?
Rejuiced.
What do you mean by
recalibrated? Rejuiced?
What do you mean by that?
Like your juice level is up? Like you recharged?
Rejuiced, huh? What do you know, brother?
Yeah. I don't even know. What are we doing? What are we
juice? Okay.
Like like Minute Maid? Like juice?
Like steroids, Des. Steroids. Dude, you're on juice. You're on gear.
I'm a kid of the steroid era. Do it.
Pork everybody's bat too.
Yeah.
You can do it. Gosh, if you want. I was just fucking around. But sorry, what did you say again?
No, I just think
guys coming in. Okay, sorry. Guys coming in without being the defending champs. Yeah, I think with them coming in not being the defending champs, they really don't have any pressure. I mean, for once in the last 7 years, they are coming in and really don't have pressure for the most part. Either being in the World Series, being in the LCS, which we just saw, losing to the Rangers in a game in a series where they didn't win at home. But Urquidy, like Urquidy's got a chip on his shoulder. You've got Javier with a chip on his shoulder, Fromber with a chip on his shoulder, and then honestly, Hunter Brown. We heard so many good things about Hunter Brown. The stuff is there. idolizing Justin Verlander. The mechanics are eerily similar to Justin Verlander. Well, now you have a Hunter Brown coming off of his first full season in the bigs, throwing more innings than he's ever thrown, and he's getting a full camp with Justin Verlander. I think that's going to pay huge dividends for Hunter Brown. Not the connection, the Michigan and the Detroit and all that stuff. I'm talking just from a veteran standpoint,
learning the craft.
Yes, helping a young pitcher who has electric stuff. I expect consistent things for Hunter Brown. I don't want to put a bunch of pressure on him and say big things. I just think he'll be more consistent. We got to interview him at FanFest, and he said one of the things, he got to a certain point in the season last year where you hit that innings threshold and you get dead arm or you get tired, you get fatigued, all that, and you try to push through that. And one of the things he said was like he learned so many different things about his body and mechanics wise. So obviously you learn from that through experience. You have a full off season, no WBC, no deep playoff run, and then you come in with a Justin Verlander to help you in spring training. More consistency from Hunter Brown is what I expect.
Yeah, and I think the pressure side, right? Like, let Justin Verlander walk to the Mets last year. You slotted him in your rotation. That's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to put on a young arm. And I think he also kind of was a merchant of being just a batted ball in play. Like, it just felt like there's a lot of ball squibblers, here, a CNI single here, and then all of a sudden a double in the gap 2-run score. I felt like there was a lot of, and it kind of just snowballed negatively. Fresh start with Hunter Brown. I think the emergence of a JP France last year is huge for this year and this year's squad. Obviously, you talked about it earlier. He's coming off the shoulder, but throwing to batters. I think that candidate, the JP France of 2024, is your Spencer Arrighetti, and we have to touch on that. I think that's a guy that's going to be a dog. I don't know if he's a front end guy. I know he's a roto guy though in the show, and I hope he breaks camp. If he doesn't, that's only going to piss him off for greatness more. But that's a guy that should have been up in September. That's a guy that can eat innings. That's a guy who can just compete. And I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, but he's either working out or he's playing golf. Like, that guy is DPO. And so when he's dialed in like that, I saw his wedge play. If you want to play, Spence, we'll go golf with you. But the wedges are dialed, and I hope the new pitches he's coming up with are dialed too. So that's a guy I'm really, really big on, and that's no secret. Everyone's been talking about all offseason, right? Spencer Arrighetti. So
yeah,
I think he could be that new JP France for this year's staff.
Yeah, and another thing that I think that we're going to see this season is you also throw Ronel Blanco into that rotation, or
Dana loves him.
Right? Yeah, Dana Brown is high on Ronel Blanco. So you take Ronel Blanco, you take Spencer Arrighetti, you also take Hunter Brown, Jose Urquidy, and JP France. Ultimate piggyback situation.
Little piggy?
Piggyback situation. If those guys, if Ronel Blanco gets a start, or I'm sorry, if Jose Urquidy gets a start, only makes it through 3 or 4, Ronel Blanco, let's go. Get hot. Here we go. Or the whole starter thing, Urquidy 2 or 3, Spencer Arrighetti 3, boom, you toss it over to Josh Hader, Brian Abreu, and Ryan Presley. Bingo, bango, bongo, we win a ball game. I think you'll see more piggybacks this season with those guys.
Ooh, I like that.
Before we get to the bullpen real quick, I got to ask you guys, and Josh, if you want to pop in here real quick, just for your quick answer. We hit on it a little bit earlier. Would you guys go get Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell? Just yes or no. Doesn't have to be both. Or I'm sorry, doesn't have to be one or the other. Just yes or no.
No.
Blake Snell 1 year.
So Josh, you said no. Dez, you said Blake Snell 1 year. I'm with Dez. I'm going to get Blake Snell. Give me 1 year. You want 1 year? Go get you a ring, Bubba. You got two Cy Youngs. Get you a chip. Get you a chip.
Get you one of these.
Get you one of these. Babies and memories.
Get you one of babies and memories. Get you one of these.
Yeah. All right, Des, before we get into our next episode, which is going to be the bullpen, you know anybody that can provide some really good wings?
Ooh, I know exactly who can do that. Big City Wings. Big City Wings. They're ever growing. Another 2 stores popping up. Brian Lalima will be at the Edo location on opening day.
Yep.
Opening day?
Opening day.
Opening day. They have crawfish now. I mean, they have everything. They're known for the wings. I love their burgers. Everyone knows I tweet about it. The crawfish season. Crawfish is back. They have crawfish wings now. Go to bigcitywings.com to find a location nearest you. And shout out to U.S. Coins and Jewelry and Celebrity Mint. Kenny Duncan Jr., Matthew Duncan doing big things over there off the Katy Freeway. Awesome memorabilia. They had a cards and coffee. They had Terry Poole, Shane Reynolds, and Phil Garner out. So always be on the lookout for what they're doing on their socials. And shout out to both of our sponsors because without them, we will not be doing this. Shout them out.
Perfect. Our next episode is going to be the 2024 season preview for the Astros bullpen.
Lights out.